So here is everything that you need to know before Nvidia reports earnings today after the market closes. What's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions. So as you might have seen based off of yesterday's stock performance and today, we're kind of consolidating right around 680 per share with previous highs of 740 per share. Now, why are we seeing a lot of selling pressure on Nvidia? And yesterday, it had its single biggest loss in market cap valuation ever in its history. Now, first off, it's never been worth this much. It's the third most valuable company that's publicly traded. And I think that's where the concern is. It's grown so quickly, so much. And if you look at it, let's look at this on the day chart. You can see from lows of $100, that is late 2022. That was just 2 years ago, right? And then now we went from $100 a share all the way to highs of 740. So an absolute insane growth within a very short period of time. And that's where a lot of the concern is coming, where when you read all these different articles, it pretty much says that this growth has been parabolic. And pretty much a lot of analysts are taking back their form of either credibility or their price target for this given stock. One of the things that I wanted to share with you is that we believe and we think that one interpretation of Nvidia's move is a mix of fear and greed and indiscriminate investors chasing all things AI. There is no question that just by saying the word AI, especially in the past 2 to 3 quarters, has caused stocks to go up, right? We've seen Amazon and Apple and a bunch of other different AI companies. Now, Nvidia obviously is the juggernaut when it comes down to creating these chips for artificial intelligence. There's no question about that. But I would say the big concern is, has it grown too much too quickly? And that is where the concern is at. Because if so, is that growth going to plateau, and is now the time to cash out for investors before it begins to report earnings not as good as expected? But let's go ahead and just quickly talk about what it's actually set to report today. So today, February 21st, 2024, after the market closes, and I'll leave it up to you guys if we host that live stream, just get this video to over 1,000 likes and subscribe to the YouTube channel. But the earnings per share is $4.58, and the projected revenue per quarter is $20 billion and 20.37. So you can see based off of previous expectations and previous earnings, I mean, let's just look back to last year. From February 22nd, 2023 of when it reported $6 billion was the expected revenue. Now we're going from $6 billion to now $20.37 billion. You have to think about that. In just 1 year, the expectation is now 3 times of what we expected last year. So that growth has been insane. And now, of course, it makes sense on why Nvidia has been growing so quickly. But now that we understand that, we also have to understand the concern of maybe there is a lot of hype factored in advance, all things AI. And I'm really at least happy to hear that it's kind of like bringing back Nvidia back to earth, where there's obviously a lot of expansion and growth potential in AI. And I don't want to take anything away from Nvidia and what the possibilities are. But the growth within a very short period of time, you have to understand for traditional long-term investors, institutional investors, they have to look out for their downside. And if they think that this might be overvalued because of all the hype, and if that hype ends up dying out for whatever the case might be, right? With however, this presidential election goes in, if we begin to see a market pullback, that hype will not be as strong. And the stocks that will most likely correct themselves more than others are the ones that are overvalued and overhyped. I don't know if you guys remember back to 2021, I think it was, where we saw a handful of different companies experience parabolic growth within a very short period of time during the pandemic, because there's pandemic hype and pandemic demand for those given stocks. But if that hype ends up dying out, then what happens after? They correct themselves. And I think that this is what we're beginning to see with Nvidia, is they're just preparing that if it is overhyped and it doesn't continue to maintain that level of growth, then again, it makes sense on why investors are simply being cautious. Nvidia is still a super valuable company. It's absolutely killed it, and I don't want to take anything away from it. I don't think anyone really can. But with that being said, I think it makes complete sense on why they are looking out for their downside. So I'm glad that we talked about market's expectation, and I'm excited to watch with you guys live the market react to Nvidia reporting earnings. So again, if you want to tune on in, drop a thumbs up, get this video to over 1,000 likes, and just make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel to turn on your post notifications so YouTube notifies you when it is that we go live. And again, that's going to be right when the market closes, which is at 4 p.m. Eastern time, or if you're in Arizona, it's 2 p.m. Arizona time. So I hope to see you there. If you have any questions, comment down below, and you guys let me know. Do you think that Nvidia is going to rally after reporting earnings today, or do you think that it's going to correct itself? Excited to watch with you guys. Appreciate your time, like always. Let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.